Commissioner DeMaria.
Perfect. Present.
Okay. City Commissioner Jane Ann Hancock.
Present.
That's it for now.
Mark Smith is on that one.
No, it's
No.
that?
it's a partner of Red Gilmore's,
Oh, okay.
Paul Quinn.
Okay, can I have a motion to accept the minutes from August 27th with any necessary changes?
So moved.
So seconded.
Second, okay, all in favor? Aye. Anyone object? Okay, can I have a motion to accept with any necessary changes the agenda for today?
I just had one comment on the agenda, and that is our last board meeting, we discussed
Yeah.
discussing the ED's
Okay.
compensation.
Mhm.
So it's not on the agenda. I can obviously bring that up, I guess.
It is on the agenda.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
See it.
Okay.
What on?
Oh, good.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Rick just called and said they can't hear.
Oh,
This is Randy. I can hear the group.
Okay, good.
but Rick can't.
Paul, can you hear us?
You put me in a difficult position, Mr. Russell. Mr. Gilmore under the bus. Yes, I can hear you too.
Okay.
So he can't hear because there's no.
So it's not on our end,
Maybe he just needs to turn the volume up.
so we've solved that.
Does he know that? Can we put it in a chat to him or something? That he knows
I can hear.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so we did accept the agenda, correct?
No, we
We-
haven't.
Okay,
got
we
it
have,
now.
okay, can I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
So second.
Second, okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Any objection? Okay, we have special presentations, the Sarasota Housing Authority Partner Introduction, Big Waters Land Trust.
So I'm going to call on Michelle Steers, our Director of Resident Services, to
Okay.
introduce them.
Hi everyone, like you said, I'm Michelle Steers. I'm the Director of Resident Services for Sarasota Housing Authority. So each month we've been trying to bring in some of our amazing partners that work with the kids in housing, and today we have Big Waters Land Trust. So if you're not familiar, you might have been familiar with Conservation Foundation of the Gulf Coast. It's in about the past year that they changed their name. So they are our Southwest Florida Nature Conservancy. So what they do is through easements and land purchases, they are trying to conserve as much of the nature that still exists in Southwest Florida before we pave it all over with
Yeah.
development. So in my personal opinion, one of the most important nonprofits we have here locally. And then through their youth and nature programming, Sarah Rubin is the program manager for that at Big Waters Land Trust. They expose our kids to amazing nature-based experiences. So I think it was probably prior to you, good 5-6 years ago, because I was interested in the work the organization does. I noticed they had just started a youth and nature program, saw it on the website, reached out to whoever I could, and ever since then, it kind of started with mainly summer programming. They would come in and our summer kids host and sponsor nature-based field trips. Everything from going into the state parks to, full-day beach picnics with marine conservation, always educational elements to what they do. And it's just grown from there. This last summer, now they're coming to us during the school year and working with the kids kind of on a monthly basis. They've been to Save Our Seabirds. One time she brought in a live black vulture that moved around the room, checking out all the kids. And then in the summer, they did field trips like fishing. We went fishing on Tampa Bay. They did a boating excursion from Fort DeSoto and then snorkeling on Shell Key. And in each of these cases, when we're on the water, amazingly, they hire lifeguards to come with us. So it takes a little bit of the anxiety and responsibility off of us. And the kids love it, the fishing trip. So Sarah Rubin is their program manager. I wanted to introduce her. They also did this summer, starting this summer with support from Sarasota Bay Estuary Program, they offered 2 weeks of teen nature explorers camps, kind of targeting North Sarasota, Newtown area. So what they did is they picked the teens up and dropped them off every day at Robert Taylor. So for kids who didn't have transportation, they earned stipends for attending. They were given snorkeling gear. She can tell you more about that. I did bring Lubens with me because he's one of our teens in housing that got to participate in that if you have any questions about those camps. And from there, I'll just let Sarah tell you more.
Great, thank you.
Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you.
Before you start, I just want to apologize to everybody. I'm sorry I'm late. I had a meeting at Dolphin Towers, a board meeting, so I had to go there first. So I'm sorry.
Over there. Well, hello. Thank you, everyone, for allowing me to come speak about the partnership between Big Waters and Sarasota Housing Authority. I have my little iPad here with my speech, so thank you for giving me a few minutes to share how our conservation work is directly impacting the children of the Sarasota Housing Authority and why this matters for the future of our community. When we talk about conservation, we often think about preserving habitats, protecting wildlife, or managing natural resources, but at its heart, conservation is also about people, especially the next generation. For many children growing up in the Housing Authority communities, access to green spaces and opportunities to explore the outdoors can be very limited. That's where our partnership and programming step in. Through nature-based activities, whether it's guided hikes, fishing days, planting and gardening, exploring vultures and birds, and next month's adventure, we explore the creepy crawlies of the spiders and the insects for Halloween. Hands-on learning in parks and preserves, these children get the chance to experience something beyond their everyday surroundings. For some, it's their first time seeing a mangrove forest, touching seagrass, or spotting an osprey. These moments are more than field trips. They spark curiosity, build confidence, and foster a sense of belonging in the natural world. We've seen firsthand how these exposures change perspectives. Children who start out hesitant, worried about the bugs, the dirt, or the unfamiliar, often end the day asking when they can come back. They develop not only an appreciation for nature, but also an understanding how important it is to care for the environment. As our research consistently shows, and we do surveys with the children when they go out, time outdoors improves mental health, reduces stress, and strengthens problem-solving skills, all benefits that extend into the classroom and beyond. There's also a powerful social impact. When kids learn together in nature, they practice teamwork, leadership, and most importantly, stewardship. They begin to see themselves as part of something bigger, a community of people and a community of place. That sense of connection is especially meaningful for children who may not always feel they have a stake wider in the Sarasota community. Our conservation work with the Housing Authority is, in many ways, an investment. We're cultivating not healthier environments, but healthier, more engaged young youth. These children are future decision makers, future voters, perhaps even future conservationists and scientists. And even if they don't go into those fields, they will carry an appreciation for the outdoors that will shape how they live, how they raise their families, and how they contribute to our Sarasota. So when we conserve habitats, plant trees, or protect our bays, we're not just saving nature for its own sake. We're creating opportunities for children to thrive. We're showing them that the natural world belongs to them and that they have the power to protect and enjoy it. Thank you for supporting this work and recognizing that conservation is not only about landscapes and wildlife, it's also about the people, especially the youngest among all of us who will inherit all of it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those. Like Michelle said, we had some wonderful experiences this year. We partnered with many different organizations. The Timber Bay Wash Discovery Center, and we even caught a shark out on the boat, so that was phenomenal.
wow.
It was very fun for the kids, and they still talk about it, and they still remember that moment. So,
What kind of shark was it?
It was a bonnethead,
How cool?
like a 3-foot bonnethead.
Yeah.
And it
Oh,
was
wow.
Marcus, and he was
Yeah,
like this
Marcus
tall.
is like 5 years old.
I've caught those in the bay before.
And we were just really lucky because stuff was really biting. So it was like a high action fishing
Oh,
trip.
good.
They just all had fish on the line.
Great.
So,
Could I-
yeah.
Thank you so much.
I was
couple
curious,
questions?
you might have already
absolutely.
mentioned it, how many youth get involved?
Well,
roughly?
during the monthly trips, we usually have like 10 to 15, I would
Yeah.
say, for our monthly programs. And our monthly programs are usually out in the building or outside in the garden area. And then for the summer programs, I think we had about 14, 12, something like that, every excursion. And we took excursions like every 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's limited by our bus seating
Sure.
capacity because we're getting them.
And what's the process of selection? I mean, are there more youth that want to be able to attend?
Well, so if it's summer, when we did summer programming, it's our full day summer program students that we're taking, which we limit that program in size because of how much transportation
I see.
involved with the bus. So that tends to be 12 to 13 students, and it's the same 12 to 13 students with us all day. So
Oh, I see.
they're
So
doing
they all go.
multiple summer field trips. Consecutively, they have these teen camps going where, for example, he is another one of our students in housing that he was participating in with transportation provided by Big Waters Land Trust. And then during the school year, our after-school program, the daily attendance varies a little because the kids are coming, choosing when they're coming. And so if we have, a large group, 30, 35 students, we're selecting from them who wants to go. Miss Sarah's here today with the Black Vulture, and the kids who want to go check out the Black Vulture go into that program space and interact. But we're really grateful. They're the kind of field trips that we couldn't do. I mean, I know Mayaka's out there. There's a beach. For example, if it's a day at the beach, Big Waters Land Trust is sponsoring a full picnic. It's full days of food. So they're at the beach. They're enjoying the water, which you might think the beach, that's right there, but most of our kids don't experience the beach without opportunities like this. So, and then with the marine education component.
This is a wonderful program. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for this. Really.
Awesome program. Curious, so along those same lines as you, Commissioner, what opportunities are there to expand the program? Is there more demand than, what you can currently serve? It sounds like transportation is a limiting factor, but you have access to larger buses, or is that what I'm hearing?
We have some funding for some extra transportation funds, but we are also limited in the amount that we have for those trips too. And we partner with 26 youth organizations around the Sarasota Manatee community, also in Charlotte County as well. So time on my part is also somewhat limited.
Sure, of course. Yeah.
That's our most limited resource.
Am I correct though, for example, during the school year, this kind of on-site after-school programming is pretty unique to the housing authority?
Yes. We did do some after-school program, but we have actually stopped after-school programming except for the housing authority.
Okay, very
Okay.
good.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate
then
that.
my last question is just for the young man himself, if he feels comfortable answering. Did you have fun and did you learn?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. So it's a great program for you.
And Lubens is definitely interested in science.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
Have you ever done a program with a community garden before?
We do some community gardens. I will be the first to tell you I have, a black thumb. So anything I plant dies. So I'm not opposed to doing more gardening. I just need some help.
So partnership would be
Yes.
a potential conversation.
Well, you did have a background, you said, in bees and pollination.
Yes.
And there's a grant opportunity for me to get beehives, so I'm looking for someone with beekeeping skills because I'd be happy to go after that grant in the beehive, but as far as caring for that beehive, that would not be me, but I think that'd be an opportunity for the kids. So we were talking with UFIFAS, their pollinator beekeeping program, Sarah, who has knowledge and experience in that area, and then I could potentially bring in a beehive. It's supposed to be one of those closed ones where they're coming and going and you kind of have it in a window and you can see it from inside. So.
You mean it's sting proof?
Semi.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
We appreciate you. Thank you. Michelle, thank you so much.
Thank
for
you. And I
having
want to point
us.
out, Lubens is also works with our after-school program. So he's an
Okay.
after-school program assistant. He grew up participating in our youth programming, and now we're employing him.
Awesome.
Oh,
In
wow,
case
that's good.
anyone missed it, we took Lubens to Faro annual conference when he was 8, and he won the spelling bee. So he's a celebrity at Faro. Second place. Wow.
So humble.
That's
In
a
my
Very
mind,
humble.
you
was
won.
one.
I was so proud that it seemed like you won.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna squeak out because
Yeah.
he has to work.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So now we're going on to Sarasota Housing Authority compensation benefits presentation.
Yes.
Yeah, I only came for the fun part.
So, I just want to introduce Jennifer Martinez to the board. I don't know if y'all have met her yet, but we've been working together 2 years now?
3 years.
3 years.
3 years.
Oh my gosh. As our HR consultant, they've done a ton of stuff for us. Really, a ton of stuff. Employee surveys, they've helped us rewrite the personnel policy, and they do handle employee relations issues as they come up. They help us with hiring, recruitment, all kinds of stuff. And her partner, Randy, some feedback that I got from the retreat was that the board wanted to know more about our compensation program and our benefits program. So I asked Jennifer and Randy to put together a presentation for the board on that topic. So,
Great, thank you.
Jennifer?
So, thank you so much, and it's a pleasure to meet everyone in person. And just to echo what William said, it's been a pleasure to be an extension of the management team serving as the outsourced HR. I've had the opportunity to work with all of the team members, and really our primary goal is to help mitigate risk, but also create a very positive workplace culture for the employees, so they in turn create a great work environment for your residents. So with me, Randy is our subject matter expert in compensation, so I think he's going to share his screen and he's going to take you through the presentation, and I'll certainly jump in as you need me, Randy.
Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna try to put it in full screen mode, make it a little easier. Okay. How's that? Is that visible?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you, and thank you, Jen, and thank you, William, and Board of Commissioners for inviting us to your meeting today. I've been working with William and the Housing Authority for the past 3 years, primarily in all things compensation, which is one of my areas of expertise in human resources. What we're going to be talking about today really is just providing an overview of the Housing Authority's, what we call their Total Rewards program, which includes both compensation and benefits. And in addition to benefits, what kind of career development opportunities exist for the employees of SHA. And our goal is to show how SHA's offerings in Total Rewards really help position the agency competitively in the Housing Authority sector. So we'll be talking about your overall positioning. We'll go through kind of a high-level compensation process in terms of how we determine the rates for all of the jobs at SHA, how employees move through their pay ranges, and how they can move through their careers. And then we'll wrap up with an overview of benefits and really the key I guess, most prevalent benefits that you offer your employees. So really, just kind of as an overall statement, overall, SHA is quite well positioned in its compensation and benefits offerings relative to other housing authorities. You use market-based compensation and a compensation structure that I'll share in a moment that ensures fairness and pay competitiveness, both inside and outside of the public sector, I'll say. And you also have very strong, well-defined job descriptions that support various position levels within the agency. And really helps me when I look at how do I match an agency, an SHA job, in the market. And it really all starts with the job description. And again, they're quite good at SHA. So overall, before we get into the overview itself, SHA has a very balanced approach that combines competitive pay with a comprehensive benefits package. So when we look at okay, how much do we pay our employees, right, at SHA? Or if a new position is created that hasn't existed at the agency before. What we do is we start with, well, what is the content of the job? And that is ultimately results in a job description. And we don't look at title solely. When we start looking at comparisons in the market, titles vary across organizations, and very rarely do they match up in terms of true responsibilities and what that position is all about. So that's where we start, and we look at what is the job scope of responsibility, what is that position's decision-making authority, and of course, what are the required qualifications. And then we look in the market. With that job, we then look in the market and we compare that SHA job to external survey jobs. And we use several robust market surveys here at Consult HR Partners to compare positions because we want to make sure that the data is relevant to the agency. And then to further refine the data and make it as relevant to the agency as possible, we scope it down, right? So we look at the position and then we actually look at data cuts such as revenues or assets or budget, because that drives a job's pay. We look at how large is your agency compared to other employees. Where is your agency located and where do you recruit from? So as an example, we'll look at pay rates in Orlando, Sarasota, Tampa, and Fort Myers, and make sure that we're capturing kind of a larger area so that we're getting more of a kind of a metropolitan view of what that pay is all about. And then we apply the market. Once those are applied, those data scopes, we can then pull the market ranges for those positions. And that data comes back to us at the low end, the midpoint, or the median, and at the high end, because of course it can vary based on years of experience an employee has, what their performance is, etc. So that's kind of a high-level look at how we pull market data, how we match or benchmark SHA jobs in the market. And again, we use subscription-based compensation surveys to match the positions. And then we pull the pay rates that would be most prevalent in your geographical area and the size of your organization. Then what we do is based on that data, right? And we have done this for every job at the agency. And what we've been able to do with that data is create a pay structure. So every position, every job at SHA has a salary range attached to it that is based on the market, what the market is paying. from the low end through the high end. And then each salary range is represented by 4 quartiles. So there's the minimum and there's the maximum of the pay range. The minimum to the 25th percentile is typically where you would look to put an inexperienced employee, new hire in that role, right? Someone's new to the agency and or they have minimal experience, they would be paid lower in the range. That's just compensation, both theory and practice. As you get closer to the midpoint, and as you can see on this graphic that I have to the side of the text, the employee moves deeper or further into that pay range. So by the time they hit, let's say, the midpoint or the median of that pay range, they should be fully competent in that role. And you can see the X or bottom axis on this chart has the quartiles and the Y-axis, or the vertical, has an example salary range. In this case, it's from $40,000 to $60,000. Now, as an employee stays in their role for years, they will eventually start getting close to the maximum of their pay range. So what we do to try to, well, first and foremost, every year pay ranges should shift at 2 or 3 percentage points to keep up with all the various economic factors, inflation being one of them, cost of living. So what we will also do is make sure that on an annual basis, we'll adjust the entire pay range. It's not by a lot, again, 2 or 3 percentage points, but it still helps avoid someone topping out in their pay range prematurely. Now, as an employee gets higher and higher in their pay range, they will generally be receiving smaller increases, and the reason pay increases on an annual basis. And the reason for that is, once you hit the median, you are very well paid. That is considered the true job value of that job, is the median. Once an employee is over the median, they're being really well paid for that position. Now, in order to provide career pathing for any position or positions that will allow us to do so, right, that are truly market-based, we've been able to look at jobs at SHA that are part of job families. So, for example, maintenance and, or as examples, maintenance and HCV case management are 2 areas at the agency where we have created job families. These are based off of not just experience, but level of decision-making, level of autonomy, certifications that people will hold. So we will start with maintenance trainee. We have mechanic 1, 2, 3, up to the supervisor and then above, and the same with the HCV program. This obviously helps retain employees because they can see, hey, I'll come in at this level. If I perform well, get X certification, let's say, if they're in one of those roles that require this certification, they can see very transparently what their career path is. And we know that that really helps retain employees. We're also going to be doing the same we just recently met with William, and we would like to create a job family or levels also for property management that is also supported in the market. That was kind of a brief overview of compensation. Now we're going to share what benefits the organization offers. First of all, your health and wellness benefits are quite strong. You offer 2 medical plans. It's very common. Employees want more than one option. All studies show that. 2 or 3 options is very, very common. And in your options, you offer both an HMO and a PPO. That is also very standard and cost-effective for the agency. And you offer employee-only coverage at no cost to the employee. Fantastic benefit. It is common in the public sector to pay the premium for the employee only and for the employee's dependents to all have to pay, a premium. So SHA is right in line with medical. You offer virtual healthcare and teledoc as part of your plan. Again, really popular benefit. Employees want this for things that they know they just don't have to go into an office, and they can just talk to a qualified physician or clinician over the phone or the computer. Another big benefit, and fantastic, and I don't know why there are agencies that don't offer this. I don't know why, but these flexible spending accounts where employee, and you offer two, both for health care and for dependent care. Super benefits where employees can use their pre-tax dollars, right, for certain medical expenses, and likewise for certain qualified dependent care expenses, where they put in those pre-tax dollars into an account. They get a little credit card, right, where they can then use those accounts for these qualified expenses. Big money saver for your employees. Continuing with your health and wellness offerings, you also offer both dental and vision. Again, really great benefit, and you offer it at no cost for employee-only coverage. And like your health plan or your medical plan, contributions are required for spouse and or children. You offer at no cost to the employee one time their annual salary in basic life. You also have a voluntary option to buy up additional life insurance. You offer accidental death and dismemberment insurance. Basically, that's kind of bundled with your life insurance, and that's at no cost. And your short and long-term disability programs are paid 100% by SHA. So when I look at we've just looked at your health and wellness benefits and medical related and insurance related. These are at least competitive, if not, in a couple cases, slightly more than competitive in the housing sector, in the housing authority sector. Again, all of these, we know that public sector in general, housing authorities, typically don't pay the same level of salaries as private sector for similar jobs. This is why it's important to have benefits that can make up part of that and have benefits that are really well received. You have a retirement plan, obviously the 457 plan, where employees are eligible after 6 months of service, where they can defer a portion of their salary into pre-tax and Roth account options. Auto enrollment, fantastic move. Organizations that don't have an auto enrollment into their retirement plan see a lot lower participation in their plan. This really speaks to SHA's commitment to retirement, financial security for your employees. And then you auto-escalate that. So you hire a new employee, automatically 5.5% of their salary is enrolled into your retirement plan. Every year after that, it goes up by 0.5%, and then 0.1% up to a maximum, 1.0% up to a maximum of 10%. That's the employee contribution. SHA will match 100% of the employee contribution up to 5.4% of pay. If the deferrals exceed that, the match is up to a max basically of 7.5. We looked at, now looking at your plan.
Could I stop you there for a second, Randy?
Sure.
I'm sorry. Is it stepped, meaning once you meet, if you go up to 5.4%, you receive 100% of 5.4%, and then the increment above that is 7.5%, or is it?
No.
Okay.
If you're under 5.5, like if you contribute 5, we'll contribute 5. Or if you do 4, we'll match 4. But if you contribute 5.5, we will match 7.5. Or if you do 6, we'll do 7.5. If you do 7.5, we'll do 7.5. If you do 10, we'll do 7.5.
Right.
In other words, that's the maximum.
Correct.
And that's pretty good, because most companies only do 6.
It's very good.
No, it's very good. I'm curious. There are percentages in which you could potentially make less in your match. Correct? Am I doing the math right?
No.
Okay.
We'll match their percentage up to 5.5. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. So if you contribute more than 7.5, it's not a one-for-one match, but it's still a very good match.
It's still a very good match. I'd just be curious if that's pretty standard practice, or if it should be stepped as a means to making sure that people aren't accidentally losing out on matchable dollars.
This plan overall is, actually I would say it's very competitive compared to most public sector plans, which often match in the 3 to 5% range.
Okay.
So what I like about this design is that it really incentivizes higher deferrals and creates kind of a behavior, right, that I think most employees will want to reach. I look at this as and when I look at your participation rate, which is 73%, very competitive, and significantly higher. So 73% of your employees are actively participating. Clearly, once they're auto-enrolled, they can opt out, right? So you have, 17% of your employees that have chosen. At this point, they're just not ready to be in the plan. But it's higher than 60. Typically, 4, 5, 7 plans without auto-enrollment are at about 60% participation, just as a point of reference. So I like the behavior, I think it is, that this plan encourages for employees, to go ahead and contribute to their retirement. And the nearly 1 to 1% ratio, you can see as of the end of June, which was the latest data, June of this year, the latest data that we got from the trustee, employee contributions are sitting at 80,000 and SHA at 78. So, that shows that nearly 1 to 1 ratio shows that your matched design is being fully utilized. So I think it actually balances, a generous. It balances generosity and competitiveness. It's a good plan.
I was also going to just mention too, Randy, that the auto enrollment just started like a year or so ago. So that's a pretty good participation in light of it just starting. So we anticipate that participation rate, and it's certainly a great recruitment tool. William, make sure that anytime we're talking with candidates that we really promote the benefits. And another data point is we ask the team members in our employee engagement survey, on the compensation side, everyone always wants to be paid more. That's just standard behavior. But on the benefit side, we get very good high ratings from our internal employees that they're very satisfied with the benefits, especially with retirement plan.
Very good.
Any other questions on the retirement plan? Okay, you also have a robust PTO, paid time off program, where all full and part-time employees are eligible. They begin to accrue it on their first day of employment. They have to complete their introductory period or probationary period before they can actually use it. But they do start to accrue on day one. And it's earned gradually throughout the year with the amount, as it says here, basically on a formula. So years 0 through 3 years of service, an employee will earn 140 hours or 14 days. Years 4 through 9, 18 days, and over 10 years, 22 days. When an employee separates, and any of their accrued but unused PTO will be paid out accordingly to them. Also a nice benefit. This PTO program, by the way, is competitive to maybe slightly above market compared to other housing authorities. You are at 22 days, at 10 plus years, you're right there. That's standard, that's median, and maybe a day or two, 8 hours, 16 hours, but difference from perhaps what the median would be. But again, it's not uncommon for public sector to offer more higher or a richer PTO plan, as well as training and development offerings, and as we said, a retirement plan to try to make up for lower rates of pay in most cases. So good PTO plan. Holidays, very similar. You offer 12 paid holidays throughout the year. This is considered a competitive holiday program. Last but not least, training and development, which is also attracts employees to, especially younger employees now, to an organization. And what I really liked about your educational reimbursement plan is that, your reimbursement you will allow up to $5,000 annually for a team member who is requesting continuing education, and you cover, which is under the IRS annual limit, of course. And then you cover training, schooling, and certification costs. For example, certain positions like HCV case managers would have required housing-specific certifications. There are other positions at the agency that require certifications, and the agency pays for those. Now, of course, as a safeguard, which is always the best practice when you have a nice educational reimbursement plan, is that there really is an expectation that employees will stay for 2 years minimum. Of course, we want them to stay for a long time. But if an employee uses this benefit, we do want them to stay for 2 years. And any cost that exceeds $500, the employee is required to sign a reimbursement agreement. And there's a sliding scale. So if they were to leave, in under a year or under 2 years, there's some different reimbursement costs to SHA based on that. Again, very healthy reimbursement program.
Are we required to make it a sliding scale?
I'm sorry?
Are we required to make it a sliding scale for repayment?
No.
Okay.
I think what it is, I have it right here in my notes. Hang on. Right, okay, so if a team member leaves the agency less than 1 year after certification is received, or the agency has paid for a degree or a certification or a class, they are required to reimburse 100% of what that course cost. If they leave the agency after 1 year but before 2 years, they're required to reimburse SHA 66%
Okay.
of that cost. That's the way the current plan is. It's not a legal requirement.
I didn't think so. I just wanted to make sure,
Okay.
since we had that problem once before.
That was your idea, this.
Yeah, I know. It was my idea. I know. I'll take that responsibility. I want to keep our people.
While we're, just stop for asking questions. I was just curious, back on the PTO, so that's a combination of vacation time and sick time?
Yes.
That's correct. So really, in summary, your comp and benefits offerings are, you use market-based pay ranges aligned with housing authority peers. You have clear career pathing through job families and are creating yet another job family. How employees move through pay progression is very fair, consistent, and sustainable because you have a structure. And we keep on top of that structure. By the way, I probably forgot to mention that we look at pretty much all jobs every 2 years, right? So come January, February of 2026, it will be time for us to once again kind of do a study of all positions within SHA. What we do in those off years is we look at key roles and make sure that we're staying on target with the market. And then based on how the market moves, so let's say the market moves, what's been happening is about 2 to 3% every year. So we'll talk with William and make a decision on, okay, here's what the data is showing. Let's move the entire pay structure of SHA up by a couple of percentage points. That way we ensure we're staying competitive. And you have a terrific benefits package. And hopefully, that covers, I know this was a lot in a few minutes, and you offer a lot more benefits than these, but these are the key benefits and the key points about compensation that we wanted to cover.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Hey, I have one quick one. Do you recommend an across the board, say 3% in this case? Or do you think we should be doing a bonus structure where we just give them a bigger check, but it doesn't get added to their pay?
Interesting. Now, when you, and that it is a philosophical question, I will say that one thing that has become very common is nonprofits. I would have to look at public
Right.
housing authorities to be sure. But nonprofits as an industry have really started to catch up on bonus compensation over the last 5 years. To the point where, I've been working now with local nonprofits for several years, and I'm a little surprised. So yeah, bonuses are one way, and it depends on how you want to set up the bonus program. Are all employees included? Do you want to look at a flat amount based on level or a percent based on salary at various levels? There's a lot of different ways you can go. I would say, personally, and you'll find probably different opinions, certainly with different consultants and different organizations. But I am always a fan of have some really good variable pay program, like a bonus program, and keeping the fixed cost of salary more stable over time, and incent employees more with variable pay. The key to bonuses is what are the goals? How are you going to measure them? How do you, and it has to be tracked in that way. Because once you start getting into the bonuses, and if you start paying people different amounts of bonuses, you have to be able to justify that.
And could I add to that just for a minute while I'm still on? I'm sorry. This has to do less with just housing authorities than with governmental entities, what I'm going to say now. So there's a statute, I don't have it in front of me, but I'll tell you how to find it, that regulates bonuses and exactly what you're talking about, whether you can just single people out or whether it has to be across the board, because it's government money, if you will. However, about 8 years ago or so, because housing authorities aren't receiving state funds, we took the initiative through FARO to challenge that, saying that it shouldn't apply to housing authorities because of our funding source. Initially, that was not agreed with, but then we legislatively exempted housing authorities from those dictates for that reason. So in our enabling statute, chapter 421 at point 04 or 5, you'll see one line that exempts us from that particular statute. It doesn't change what you said about how you need to do the analysis and how you roll it out and that kind of thing. But that sometimes is, before that was coming up as an impediment for bonuses, especially if the bonus plan had to do with the executive director and or just senior staff.
That's right, exactly right. Yeah. And so you're saying, Rick, that there is not that hurdle for that.
Right.
Okay, good.
It's statutorily in our enabling statute as
Right.
it did.
Because nonprofit as a sector, generally true nonprofit organizations now have to show, not now, they've had to do this for years, but right, it has to be, if you have a bonus program, it has to further the mission of it. It has to be reasonable, it has to be based off of very specific goals that have been communicated, to the individuals who are eligible for the bonus, and then how do you measure whether they successfully achieve that or not, right? It would be a structure. So I like bonus plans because it's not building a cost into your ongoing base, right? But there's still, depending on the position, right? If we're talking very entry level, typically low paid positions, I think we still need to keep an eye that we're market based, right? Because they'll look at that paycheck every week.
All right, gentlemen, we have to move on, but thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, we'll go next is Sarasota Housing Authority Historical Over Presentation.
All right, I'm going to try to get through this
Succinctly.
fairly succinctly. All right, so I was invited to be a part of a housing authority panel at the Florida Housing Coalition's conference, and I got so excited about it, I decided to also share it with our entire team at one of our recent team meetings. And then, again, talking to Dave after the board retreat, I told him I have one and I'll present it to the board because I think it gives a great historical overview of the last 20 years. So, we were established in 1938. It took HUD about 40 years to sponsor the development of 635 units. And next slide. And over about 15-year time period, we have developed more than HUD did in 40 years. So that was kind of the point of showing this, just to have some comparison. So we've been busy. And next slide. That's a rendering of Los on Lemon 2, which of course we just did the groundbreaking for. Next slide. And then this is our redevelopment pipeline. As you know, Los on Lemon 2 and Cypress Square 2 closed recently. And we have a fully funded Cypress Square 3 and Central Gardens development. That's going to go through underwriting and get that closed within the next, hopefully, 6 to 9 months. And then, as you know, we got funding from the state to do a new development here on this campus of 96 units. So we have another 404 in the pipeline. You can see that in 20 years, our total inventory has gone up 112%. So pretty dramatic. This is kind of hard to see, but I broke out the different categories of housing, and you can see how many we had back in 2005, and then how many we have now. The voucher program is almost tripled in size. We had 0 project-based vouchers deployed back in 2005. And once the new pipeline gets completed, we'll have a total of 527 project-based voucher units. And then LIHTC, affordable units, we had 0. After our pipeline gets completed, we'll have 993 of those. And so on. And there's some pie charts that just shows our portfolio mix. So you can tell, just looking at that, there's a lot more wedges in our portfolio now than there were back in 2005. And this is kind of fun. This was an org chart of the Housing Authority shortly after I came to Sarasota. We were under federal receivership. And then you see the next one. This is our org chart today. So we've grown as an organization as well as provided more housing. Our HUD assessments in 2005, our Section 8 assessment was a 39. It's now 100. We got 100 again this year. We just got the letter from HUD, so very proud of that. And then the public housing assessment system, when I got here, we were a 50. That's 50 out of 100, by the way. And we're currently sitting at a 92. And then peer recognition, we've won most outstanding agency from our state association twice, including this year. Very proud of that. And we've gotten a NARA Award of Merit for our Youth Thrive program. And we're also on the NARA Campaign for Grade Level Reading Honor Roll. So that concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much.
I was just curious on one thing. On the staff, how, I haven't gone through the whole chart to know, but how many staff members do we have, or should I just type those up?
It's about 40 to 41 as we sit right now. We have a couple of new people coming on board. We hired an HVAC, preventative maintenance person, and they're starting in October, hopefully in about a week. We just hired a new receptionist to work here at the front desk of this property. And she had 5 years of housing authority experience prior to that. So, it fluctuates, but between 40 and 42,
Okay. We have enough for, if Commissioner Mason leaves, do we still have a quorum?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Next would be the city commissions liaison update, please?
I don't have very much. There was a request from a citizen for what's going on with the project down here, and I provided William, Mr. Russell, with the site plan so that that can be made available to answer any questions that they had about that. I did attend the residents' afternoon meeting about the McCowan Tower Phase 3, whatever you're going to call that, and shared the input that I received. We received generally with the city manager and with the city staff on that project. And the request from the city manager is what the timeline is for you all for going forward with that project. What are your time constraints? Because I thought that you all were under some kind of time constraints for funding, and I don't know the details on that. So if I could have that information, I could relate that to the city city manager.
Okay. I can let Joe address that under the development update.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have
That's it. Any questions?
some time constraints on that.
No question.
One question for me. I just noticed in the minutes, and granted, this likely didn't come from you, Commissioner, but the comment on the city's position on public parking being incorporated being inconclusive or perhaps indecisive. I'd have to look at the exact language. But I was curious if you had any light you could shed on that.
For this
Correct.
project here. My understanding is that there's pressure on the city from the surrounding community to work with the housing authority to try to get some public parking. But the housing authority's timeline and the city's timeline to do something like that may not match up. So that's why I was asked to get the timeline of what you all are under. And then I did relay that a lot of the communities during that meeting's input was not very positive towards having there be public parking as part of this project here.
They want public, I'm sorry.
Do not.
They do not want public parking.
Additional to what would serve the residences, the staff, and the visitors of just here. My understanding was that the general feedback was not positive to having other folks park in their parking garage. Is that correct?
They who? You're talking about the residents?
Residents.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Residents, community ones.
I thought it was what you said, community. I'm thinking community.
No. This community is not
Oh.
receptive. The neighborhood would like it.
Yeah,
The
that's-
city's in the middle trying to figure out if the timing works and, balancing between this community, which is part of the city community,
Right.
and the neighborhood community are on opposing sides. And so,
Well, I think, we need to build some extra parking for the community, so, outside. So, because there's a tremendous parking problem here.
And the city manager is going to conduct a parking assessment of what we have and what we need based on the future growth of the Bay Park, the Van Wezel, the parking going away for the Van Wezel, what the city's planning on doing and replacing that, the potential new performing arts center, what kind of a demand that would be, and then just the area here and the current businesses that are coming online, what kind of a demand that is putting on the area. And so that's where we are. It's just assessing all that information.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Appreciate it.
County Commission liaison update?
Not here.
We don't have anyone from county. Okay, we have public presentations. We have 3 and a 3-minute time limit. Our first one would be Agnes Kirkland.
You want me to get your chair?
We have a chair right here.
She said
Oh, no, Agnes is cool.
I'd like to know about the parking lot over here. Don't have enough light in the parking lot. And number two, I'll let you know if we have the okay sign that we could put on the resident door to let them know that they sick of whatever.
Okay. Did you say lighting in the parking lot?
Yeah, got no letting.
There's not enough lighting, or
There is no
Yeah,
light.
there's no lighting?
Right on that end,
My
not,
cars.
not,
I know.
some are working.
I'm sorry, I should let her finish. Sorry.
Some are working, some.
So we need some
Okay.
bulbs
I didn't
replaced.
hear the second.
I did the second too. What was the second concern you had?
I got it.
You got it?
It's, yeah.
Okay.
It's a wellness sign program that we had where the residents could hang something on their doorknobs indicating that,
okay or not.
that they're okay.
Oh, okay.
We had
Sounds
that
good.
program before,
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
and it went away,
Okay.
because tenants didn't like it,
Okay.
knocking on their doors all the time.
Okay.
I agree.
Thank you, Ms. Agnes. We appreciate
Thank you.
it. And it will be addressed in email to you. Donna?
Hello.
Hello, Ms. Donna.
I just wanted to make a couple of comments, even a suggestion, about the lovely new building that's planned but not etched in stone from what I was told out front. You will like what I have to say. There's 5 different floor plans. 2 are really nice, which are probably not for us, but Unit A1B and A1C, and I know you don't have the plans right now, but if you look at them, the bedrooms that are designated a bedroom have absolutely no window and no egress to the outside. Across the country in all 50 states, that is called a closet. And it is truthfully. And in A1A, the way it's laid out, because they're trying to get so many in, I can see what's happening. They're too narrow, so they have to put both the kitchen and the living room in the back. Behind a wall, because in front of that in this case, is the bedroom and the bathroom, which are really nice. They have windows, everything's fine. But behind that wall with the kitchen and bathroom, not a single closet, not a single window in the whole place, in the back. Those units will stink. Really, just think about what'll happen in those
They
units.
put exhaust fans in.
You need more than an exhaust fan. How can you live in a unit with the kitchen and living room? You have to. Do you not have to have a window or a direct egress to the outdoors in every living space? You would know. And in every bedroom, you need legally a window or direct egress to the outdoors. Am I right? Yes, I am. What is the answer?
I think we're
But
gonna be
the answer
addressing
is
it.
not, yeah.
We're gonna be
that-
addressing it in writing.
We just need you
Yeah,
to
yeah,
say
just-
what your concerns are, and then this
And
will
we'll-
go.
Okay,
yeah.
but I think they have to be much wider, which they don't want to do because that means fewer units, but please don't make them barely wide enough so we can't even fit a bed in there.
Would you
know
like
what I
us
mean?
to evict some of you so we have more space?
What was that?
Done.
If we don't have enough space, we can't house everybody.
You have to have fewer units then. If you can't have us with no windows in our living areas and no windows in the bedrooms, who's gonna move in? That's a closet, but anyway, that's my point. Other than that, it's a lovely building.
Okay, thank you very much
You
for your
got me.
concerns. I appreciate it. Ms. Valerie? Good afternoon.
I've already addressed some of my concerns, but I want to make it known that what Ms. Agnes was talking about that I'm okay. We had a resident here that was dead in his apartment for actually 10 days. And after not checking on them, after not being seen, he was in that apartment dead. We asked about this program as the housing authority before about this program. Mr. Russell said he'd think about it. So we never heard back from that, but maybe you'll do it now. Further, I would like to know about since the housing, the new developments have been developed. I like to know how many people have either been evicted or had to move because they couldn't afford their rent from all of the properties, because there have been increase of rent, and I just would like to know how many of those people that we house got evicted or they moved voluntarily because they can no longer afford the rent. And not lastly, but the next thing I like to say is that the citizens over here, because I too attended both of those meetings with the residents, and they being stakeholders, they do not want public parking. They're afraid of public parking here, because we shouldn't have to provide parking for the city. When they continue to build, they should have their own parking spaces, and we should be providing for our residents. Right now, I don't think the gate is even fixed, right? Because we just met the other day, and they've been asking about that gate for months to keep people out, and then to have public parking. It is going to cause more fear, because anybody, you have no control over who comes in if you open it up to the public. So I just want to make sure those things are on record, because it is a concern.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Is it possible to say what you
No.
Still? Yeah. Still going.
Oh, it's okay. You can speak, but let's go through, I'd rather go through this resolution first.
Oh, all right, because my car was hit out there overnight, and it cost me a fortune to fix it.
I tell you what, come up and state your concern, and then you can fill the paperwork out later.
Okay.
What's your concern?
Oh, it's just, I wonder why they can't open up the gym in the background.
Okay.
Because the reason they said they can't is because there's construction equipment or whatever. But I don't see why they couldn't open up the gym, because it would be really nice if we did. All the equipment's there.
It's been there over 5 years.
Okay, so could you address your concern on the paper,
Yeah,
please?
fill out the paper so we can give you an answer.
Absolutely, yeah.
I need a pen though.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now let's move on to resolutions. Resolution 2517, amendment to culture guide personnel policy. Do we have any, it's open for discussion, any concerns?
No
Any
issues. Seemed
questions, no
like
issues?
no issues. Seemed like a pretty boilerplate update.
Okay. No
We have
concerns?
a motion to.
Motion?
Second.
Second.
So Jack and Commissioner.
And Commissioner Bowen. Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? All right, let's go, move on to old business. The IFB 2024-B02 Annex Stairwell Report.
So we got our architect, Chris Gallagher with Hoyt here with us, and Lance Clayton, our director of construction.
Okay.
And they're going to give the board an update on the process of getting the east stairwell taken care of.
Lance.
Afternoon. I'll just give a quick overview of how we got to where we're at.
Still here?
I'm still here? Oh, no. And then I'll let Chris take over more of the technical stuff. So basically, the building was built in 1980 is when it opened. Originally, the stairwells were open to the air. around 2000, it seems like, is when they got closed in. Now, I don't know if it was, maybe they didn't address some of the issues that had started, but the stairwells have continually declined. So we're trying to make repairs to them, but with fire department regulations, city regulations, it's making it very difficult for us to be able to work within the current stairwells. We had a discussion earlier today with one of the engineers, and they do think they have came up with another plan to address them working inside the stairwells. But if everything fails, we might have to look into actually building another stairwell next to the current one. So I'll let Chris go
That's what I
ahead.
figured you were going to do to begin with.
So those stairs, the framework of those stairs is steel. And I suspect that, and they've been repaired several times over the years, I suspect whoever made the decision to close them in figured, well, the rain's getting on them. If we close them in, that'll solve the problem. Well, the humidity is just as bad as the rain. When they were open, they dried out with the sun and everything, so, didn't really help. So, as I said, they've been repaired over the years. We were contracted in 2020 actually to do the repair work for this, and it's taken us 5 years to get to this point, and they have continued to deteriorate over those 5 years. So the original drawings we did need to be updated. When we originally went into this, when the construction actually started, the contractor came in and he said, "Man, these are really gone." And, they, especially the east stair, is not in great shape, and so we started talking about replacing this stair. And we thought, well, maybe we would take the steel out of there. We'd go back with a aluminum stair, which would hold up to the elements. But the problem we keep coming up to is trying to figure out a way to do that and keep the stair in operation, so that you wouldn't, in an emergency, you'd still someone be able to get out of both stairs. And you can imagine how difficult that would be. We talked about taking the roof off the stairs, taking the stairs out, dropping a new set of stairs in. But even the demolition, just getting it out of there, is not a one-day job. And the building department, the Florida Building Code says you can't leave a stair, inoperable. The building official is okay about during the day, allowing someone to go work out there for 8 hours, but at night it's got to be functional again. So we've wrestled with this, and again, I brought some plans. We did a couple of different versions of a stair, north of the existing stair to the east of the existing stair, leaving the existing stair there. That could be used for storage, and you'd sort of just pass through it. Then we could take the stairs out when we have the new stair in there. We've been through all those scenarios. None of them are very attractive scenarios, both from a logistics and a cost point of view. So today we went back there again with the structural engineer, the original structural engineer, and the contractor, and said, okay, first of all, we walked the west stair. And again, it has rust on it, but for whatever reason, it's not as bad as the east stair. So we went back and looked at the east stair again. And the plan was, when we were going to do that stair, they were going to go in there and sandblast the stair. Now, the problem with sandblasting is, you got to protect all the fire equipment. It's a mess at the end of the day. You can't confine it to one floor. How do you clean it up? You'd spend half the day preparing and cleaning up, as opposed to doing work to repair the stair. So with the engineer, we just started talking about other strategies besides I think we were trying to get this perfect stair. And I think we came around to, well, it is an old building. What if we can make a safe stair? And aesthetically, it may not be perfect. It'll be a lot better than it is. It'll be safe. And what if we just took a more step-by-step approach, literally step-by-step, and just go back to the drawing board. When we originally did this, we actually, on our drawings, we said, with the structural engineer, said, repair this. And so we had a drawing of the stairs, and it generally hit all those areas. Well, there's more of them now. So I think we got to go back to the drawing board, update those drawings, and say, okay, just more specifically say, this stair needs this stair is fine, this stair needs this. And then you're probably going to have to rebid it again. I don't think you're going to be able to do that under the present contractor. And then, at that point, they could go in there, and again, we were talking, instead of sandblasting, we were talking with the engineer about just one by one, grinding out whatever needs to be done, treating the what's been cleaned off the rust, painting it, sealing it, welding whatever plates, and if you win those stairways, you see there's been many repairs over the years. But if it's welded back, the rust is removed, it's repainted. The thinking is we can get you back to an operable, safe stairway. Won't be a new stairway, but it's not a new building, and it gets the goal done. You got a safe stairway that's gets the job done, and you don't have to close down the building. You don't have to move all your residents out in order to do that.
I was curious, well, from what you said though, to me it seems like the third stair option might be viable. I think it might be good if we could see that as the board, just vet that a little bit, just because it seems like from what you're saying, you're almost going back in and kind of like patching things and piecemealing them rather than creating a totally new staircase for each one that are gonna be lasting
You want to just pass those
for a long
around?
time rather than piecemeal patch things together. So
Yeah, I think
and, I'm not too. I don't know what you're saying about aesthetics, but I'm not too concerned about it. It's a stairway, so a staircase.
What's an emergency stairway?
Yeah. Well, my point is aesthetically, I'm not as concerned as
Right.
aesthetic rather than the functionality of the stair. So.
I mean, one of the things you may want to, we never really got to the finish line of what would that option cost? And I guess the other thing you can do in a set of drawings is say, okay, we got alternate A and we got alternate B. Let's put them both out to bid. Put a new stairway in, or go and do this step-by-step repair.
I don't know if this is possible because I didn't finish my engineering degree. They used to cut stairs out. They'd make a new set of stairs, one flight at a time in a shop. Bring that up to this place. Cut the other one out, put that one in, and weld it right in.
We had that whole discussion.
Okay.
I think it's a great idea
just
too.
wanted to make sure.
I had the same conversation. The GC with his steel guy. No way in 8 hours I'm gonna be able to remove that, get it welded in, get it cleaned up, get it ready for the at 6 o'clock at night so everyone can use it again. They just said no, it
And
can't.
didn't the city say you can't even have it down for 8 hours?
They were agreeable to having it, for
Okay.
during the
12 hours.
daylight.
Because now the third stair though, wouldn't that just? Can you do? I know there's a cost factor, but is there a temporary stair, a prefab stair that's?
We looked at a temporary stair. It was $250,000 to put a temporary stair for the term of construction.
That's worth nothing, they said at the end.
Then you
Yeah,
just
yeah,
get rid of it.
that part.
Wow.
And we'd have to erect it on one side, then go to the other side.
And you'd have to, basically the idea was you'd have to take a string of units, vacate those units, cut through a window so that you create a door there,
No.
put the stair in, then when it's all done, throw the stair away or
And
sell it or
repair
do
the
whatever,
units.
repair the unit, put the tenants back in, it's just not a very
So
attractive option.
what took 5 years?
Well, part of it was we ended up doing this renovation during it, and we had a big staging problem. I mean, we had half this parking lot shut down. It was just, so to have two major projects going on at once, it was too much.
We also
for the
added some to the scope. There's an area out the back we're going to put compact area, trash and fences and all that stuff, so that got added to it. And it's a long, you got to bid it out and find enough bidders. It's a lengthy process to get to the finish line.
Yeah, finding bidders is very difficult.
Yeah, 'cause I don't- like for example, like this the alternate A. What's your concern about that?
Cost. Yeah.
I guess it'd be good to understand the cost factors because we have no clue what the cost is. Well, you said you're working with a contractor. They provide a rough.
We haven't got a cost on it. That just, again, it was just the, again, we were talking $250,000 for temporary stairs, so it was going to cost for us.
Well, like this option, this would be permanent, right?
Right.
So, I mean, I think it's worth coming back with some cost options and then seeing what funding mechanism are we using to fund this currently? How much do we have?
Yeah, can
Do
we
have a
price up
budget?
what we think the rehab approach would be versus building a whole new stairwell?
Yeah, obviously there's be pretty big estimates, in fact, ranges, because contractors like, okay, how many hours is it really going to take to do this welding versus, is it a day versus an hour for any particular weld? And some of that will be revealed when you get into the grinding of it. Some of it's been painted over, it's bubbling up a little bit, but you really can't tell, is this just the corner of the stair, or do I have to replace the entire
It's
tread?
piecework.
Or what do I do? Yeah. So it's the nature of the beast.
So the true cost of the rehab is going to be an unknown even well into the project, right?
I think you probably have to put, you're gonna have to put some kind of a thing on it where they've got an uppermost, and here's what we think it's gonna be, but then there's an uppermost limit on it that says it could run this much.
Because I would think the rehab is going to be pretty expensive. You get to do the new stair, I mean, you can prefabricate the whole thing,
Correct.
even the tower.
Correct.
And drop that thing in, I would think, fairly quickly. So to me, I mean, it seems very labor intensive to do that rehab from what you're talking about, since you're doing it, basically.
Yeah, but too,
tread
then
by
you
tread,
still have to
right,
build
right, right.
the walls, so it's building a whole new structure. We can't
Well,
just put an open stairwell
Why
because it's
not?
over 5 floors. Once you go over 4 floors,
It can't be open.
no, it's
So
what is
different
that
than New
called?
York.
It's a mental thing people have.
Vertigo.
Vertigo.
Yeah.
They come out, and 4 floors is the cutoff.
Fire, situation, smoke, and everything, they're freaking out because they're afraid to walk down the stair.
But even with the stair tower itself, they have those prefabricated too.
Right.
Yeah, all the treads, we could go aluminum at that point, you could do, or it could be precast concrete. There's, you've got a lot of options at that point. Then you'd have to come in, once you've done that, then you gotta come in and you gotta demo the old stairs out of there.
Yeah, we went to similar aged, PUD multifamily buildings, about the same
was the
age,
same,
but
yeah.
it was always a totally enclosed staircase from day one, and it was a great check.
Yeah. So, I mean, it feels like the east wall of that stairs was concrete masonry or something. The north and the south stair sides were open. And you've seen those kind of stairs before. They had a railing, but not closed in. But again, at some point, the decision was made to close them in. They were framed in, stuccoed, and again, didn't solve the problem.
Because it was still vented and stuff.
I don't know, it seems like, to me, the original stairs seems like they're a piecemeal, because they tried to enclose them. So to me, I mean, I just think it's worth kind of maybe looking at the options like you said, but I don't think that, I don't know how much more design work should actually do unless if, maybe some of the drawings you might have, you might be able to get some cost with, or maybe do a section or so, or a few stairs to understand the magnitude of it.
The old stairs are not viable at all, in other words.
Parts.
No, the idea is, again, one of these options is to go and repair them.
Can't we just put concrete slabs over them?
The steel, first of all, the steel
Steel and concrete.
is, deteriorating. So we gotta repair all that
that's-
steel
that's what I'm
first.
trying to get
Yeah.
at. Okay. No, you can't, if you do it right.
Yeah, because I just don't know, what we even have for budget to try to do it right, so I think understanding, the cost implications probably is.
That's why I suggested concrete, that's the cheaper way.
We need to extend it for
No,
one.
not yet,
6 o'clock.
but it's 2 hours.
Is it?
Yep.
All right.
All right, so why don't we get back to the present contractor, see if we can just accelerate a conversation about, okay, I realize you don't have a full set of drawing of the stairs. Get us a number on a new stair. Get us some range of possibility on what the rehab of the stair would be. Again, it's not going to be a perfect
Maybe we should
number.
just focus on getting a good estimate of building a whole new. That seems like the easier thing to price out, right?
It definitely is easier, yeah.
Because maybe we know from that number, if it's even about, maybe we can just go with it, because
Okay.
it seems to me I'd rather have a new stair if we can afford it.
It's gonna be safer for the residents.
Long term.
Well, the
It
other-
would be wider too. Those stairs, the code has changed. You have to have a wider tread, a wider
Right.
And the other
stairways.
thing Lance talked about was using the current stairwell area as a larger area of refuge. For when people are actually needing to evacuate, there'll be more area out there, especially if someone's in a wheelchair or something. They're not taking up the whole landing.
If they're in a wheelchair, they can't go downstairs anyway. So
Right, but they can wait there for the fire department.
And they hand carry them down. We have one resident that's actually bedridden, so you, in theory, almost, you got to figure out how to get her out there.
You're kidding.
It's just different scenarios.
If she's bedridden, why is she here?
Well, she has a husband that her husband takes care of her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's not by herself. But there's just all those different scenarios for that expanded area.
No, yeah, that's a good way to make use of it.
All right, thanks.
Thank you to both of you, appreciate that.
Thanks for your time.
Okay, moving on to development
Now you
updates, redevelopment reports. Starting with McCowan, new tower parking lot, garage.
Hey, good evening,
Hello, Joe.
Commissioners. Joe
Hello.
Chambers here. I know you're running short on time, so I'll try to be quick and address any questions you have. So for McCowan, I think as was sort of discussed earlier, there was a good resident meeting or 2 resident meetings talking about the garage. We got some good feedback for it. I think that, just from a timing perspective, we're under the gun with Florida Housing to kind of get this moving forward. We did delay things a little bit, kind of waiting on, seeing if there's public interest in a garage. As far as commitment, I think that was a question. We really kind of need a commitment from the city if we're going to do it by the end of this year. Because once we have that or don't have it, we're at least 6 months away from closing. So that's why it's imperative to kind of get that, and that would certainly affect the design one way or another. I did hear a comment about the bedrooms, and I'll just address it real quickly, and I appreciate the comment, and we're certainly open to more comments. There were a couple different concepts of the floor plan. One did not have the bedrooms on the exterior of the building. We can do either one, and right now we've got kind of a mix of those. But the idea was most of your living space is going to be in the living room, in the kitchen during the daytime. So why not get that natural light up there and save the bedroom, which would be a quieter area away from the roadway, in a darker area. For sleeping situation. Again, we're open to either one. It's really the same square footage. So I think if we've got strong opposition, we can look at either way. Right now, we kind of had a blend. I think there was about 20 units that had that bedroom towards the back. But that remains flexible. And again, if the board has comments or if residents have additional comments, we're certainly open to hearing it.
Joe, on that topic though, so there's no scheme where we have both. Is there too narrow to have a window in the bedroom and the living space?
It's one or the other. Either the bedroom's on the exterior or it's on the interior, kind of up against the corridor. We can't spread it out to do both on each side. It just doesn't. The site just doesn't lay out to allow for that and do the parking garage.
Isn't it a law? Yeah.
And I'll say, the design is code compliant, not illegal or anything like that. Again, if there's strong feeling one way or another, it's.
Do we have a copy of the current plans?
I do.
We have.
No, I want them to send them to the board if we don't have them already. I know we had some before. I wasn't sure if anything changed.
William has it because I was at the
They
meeting.
were sent out, but I can
Okay,
resend
I just wanted to make sure.
I'll resend them.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you.
Yeah, the most recent is from about a month ago, which I think we shared at the last development committee meeting.
Yeah.
But we can recirculate.
Okay.
Were there any other questions on McCown? Sorry if I missed something earlier on. That was
So regarding the parking for the city, what other than providing parking for the overall community, neighborhood, what benefits are there? Is there, would we be profiting, is that from, for the housing authority off that, or is it? I'm just trying to figure out what the benefit is, because, if we have residents that are concerned part of our mission is to make sure we provide, quality, affordable housing to our community, and if that's a concern, I'd like to understand, the benefits that it would be, because as you know, it's not really benefiting the residents. So outside of that, what benefit does the housing authority get from your perspective?
So, that's a good question. We did have a meeting with the city manager, and there was reluctance to have any sharing of fees to the property. I would say, certainly it would be a public benefit. I'd look at it not from an ROI perspective if I was a city, but sort of like a public park, where you're not getting a huge ROI, but you're providing that public benefit. If the city goes and buys, some other land in Rosemary, they're going to have to pay, appraised value for it. But to answer your question, the initial response from the city seemed to be not supportive of financial compensation to the housing authority to do the parking. So I understand that concern in long term. Again, I get it, and I certainly understand the residents' perspective. We're kind of at that fork in the road. We can go either way, but we just have to make that decision here in the next couple months. So that's what I'm just pushing for. Is we got to make a decision one way or the other. I do see it as a public benefit for the neighborhood, but it's certainly not without some trade-offs for the residents.
Joe, to that end, do you have in your mind a method of separating and residents from public parking so that there's clear delineation? There's no concern about the public necessarily parking in resident spaces. Have you thought at all about that, or have you seen models that work well? Because I think that is one of the concerns of residents, right? Is that there'd be folks that might hit their car when they're pulling in and out. There's more transient, right? There's less security around their vehicles. So I'd just be curious what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, the traditional way to do it, if we were, some of the, even nearby parking complexes with apartments on it, the way to do it is you have designated resident parking, typically on the upper levels, and you have a separate gate that's either operated by a fob or a barcode scanner or something like that. So it's segregated totally for private use. So that's the way we could, we'd look to do it, so we would kind of separate it. Wouldn't have to worry about towing folks on a daily basis. I know the city's gone to a gateless system for their public parking, and I think, and reasonably, they'd want to continue that same system throughout all their public garages. So I know they prefer to be on the lower floors, and then the residents for private parking would be on the upper floors. And that's how we would do it if we went that route.
Well, I think there's two. I don't know all the residents' concerns, but there's two perspectives I look at it. The separation between public and private. You have one where, yes, you can separate the parking. I think that's fairly easy, but you're all of a sudden now you're introducing the public into the property, the resident's property overall. Because they're going to be interacting where they're going up and down the stairs. And then if you're talking about the residents being up, if I'm a resident, I'd prefer to be on the first floor. Now you're saying the residents have to be up, and then the public gets the lower level.
Well,
So
in the ADA units, I think.
well, the ADA will still, but you're not. Just in general, even if you're.
The first floor, no matter what we do, is sort of going to be taken by a lot of ancillary uses. Trash will be down there. The trash truck will be down there. Handicap guest spaces, things like that. Loading spaces for moving, things like that.
Well, I'm just saying lower levels.
No matter what, we're kind of going to the upper levels. Again, if we get to that point, and it sounds like we're maybe not there yet with the city, I think there's a way to do like a dedicated elevator that only the residents use, on the backside, something like that. So it is a more separate area.
Well, I think. Well, maybe one thing you have to consider first is, one thing if the city's wants to move forward, but maybe we should address this as the board and see if the board even wants to move forward at all. Well, maybe at our next meeting, we should just address it to the board. The board can make a decision if they even want, I know we talked about it, I think in general, beforehand, that it was a good thing, and now I'm wavering a little bit, hearing, a little bit more about the residents' feedback. So I think it might be good to address the board, because all of a sudden the city goes through all this effort, making a decision, and then all of a sudden it comes back to us, and then we say, well, you know what, we really don't.
Right. No, yes. Look, if the board wants to say no, then that makes my job easier. I'm trying to just be open to to all the comments, not just from our residents, but the neighborhood. Again, I get it. And, just to be clear, I mean, we started this conversation with the city 2 years ago, maybe a little more, saying, hey, this is coming. And unfortunately, that's just the nature of, our funding sources for the housing is, no one wants to do anything until we get the funding. And once we get the funding, hey, we gotta act, or we gotta give the money back. So we are under that type, that relatively tight time constraint. Again, if the board wants to, go one direction instead, or do a secondary meeting with the city, which we're probably approaching. I know the city engaged their parking study, I think 3 weeks ago, and that should be due back really any time now, maybe this week or next week. But certainly whatever the board wants to do.
You had a question?
Yeah, I'm completely neutral on all of this. I just wanted to share some of the comments that I heard when I was here from the residents. One was a lot of the folks wanted in the garage to be on the ground floor. They expressed the desire that they wanted to be able to drive in and have access. So there was a high demand for the ground floor. And then the other comment that was expressed was that the public parking would more than likely be used for, the businesses here and the Bay Park, Van Wezel, a potential performing arts center, something like that. And the residents were concerned about folks coming into the garage to access their car late at night after they've been out dining or enjoying themselves at a concert or something, that, the residents would be, because I believe it's senior housing, and they would be, in bed early-ish, and they were concerned about. The flip side of that was that Mr. Russell confirmed that it would be built out of block, so maybe it's not going to be so.
It's still going to be, has to be open air, because it has to have ventilation.
But I mean, the residents that surround the parking garage are going to be solidly built, so maybe they won't receive so much noise. But that was the concern of the residents, that people accessing their cars and going up to the elevator or driving out or whatever, that could be an impact for their
And
quality.
these residents who are going to face the opening of the garage, even though it'll be screened and hopefully have plant material growing up and down it, they may hear more of that even than the other residents.
I think those are very good valid points.
So, and even if it does go forward, just to take those things into consideration.
Sure. I know I don't want my car on the first floor, because when it rains or when it floods, your car is toast. And if you look, the last time we had a hurricane, the city parking lot was jammed with Lamborghinis and Ferraris and everything, because all of them had their cars on the upper floors. Nobody wanted to be on the first floor, and it was worth it.
Well,
so, you got to think about that.
Yeah, but they're going to have flexibility to park on the first floor or the second floor if they want to. It's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be designated parking for the
Right.
Anyways, but they have to.
Again,
These are all
just
good
keep
points.
in mind, we can fit probably a maximum of 65, 70 spaces on the first floor. Again, think about State Street. If you've been over there recently, you just have, storage and trash and everything kind of down there. So you're forced to kind of go, up a level or two.
Yeah.
Again, I hear it, we're not going to flood, but, and that, Commissioner Koch, that goes back to if the public parking was on the top floor, then they have to drive down all the levels at, midnight or whatever it is. So again, we're not, to me, that's an easy issue. If we get to that point, where we stick everyone, I think that's, easy to figure out. It sounds like we're a bit further away from that nuance, and we just have to decide if public parking makes sense or not for everyone.
Well, I think we should put it for agenda item.
Next development meeting is
Well, maybe a board meeting though.
Yeah, we're going to put it on the board agenda.
Don't do
And then
it.
we can.
Okay, we want to move on to loss on limit,
But I'll also
phase
do
2.
on that date.
All right, Loft 2, I think I didn't make it, but I think everyone else made it to the great groundbreaking ceremony for Loft 2 and for Cypress. It was a good event, good turnout. Not a whole lot of updates. We're just kind of working through the site issues. We've got the elevator pits and some of the basic foundation, the footings kind of summer poured, and we're working on getting the rest poured in the next couple weeks here. The biggest thing there is just working through FP&L and trying to get on their schedule to still relocate the overhead power lines. If we don't get that done in the next few weeks, then we are going to get some delays. But FP&L's busy and they're a little hard to get a hold of sometimes. So we're just working through that. But otherwise, it's in pretty good shape and we remain on schedule.
Okay, thank you. Next, Amaryllis 3, Cypress 2, Quartz 2.
Yep. So again, it was a good groundbreaking ceremony. I was out there yesterday and today. We're framing up the second floor on the first building, which is building 3, and we're kind of working our way around. We've got the asphalt. The first lift should be set. I believe it's in 2 weeks. We're doing the base layer now. Should have been delivered or started getting delivered today. So again, we remain on schedule there, and we're looking at hopefully second quarter of 26 for hopefully the first building. It's somewhere there between second quarter and third quarter.
Okay, thank you. Amaryllis 4, Cypress 3, Central Garden, 22nd Street.
Yep. Not a whole lot of updates there. We're just kind of working through the DRC process and site plan. I think we're pretty well set for the Amaryllis Cypress side. There's just a few things to Central Garden side that we're just working through to accommodate. But we're looking at hopefully closing second quarter of next year on that.
Oh, okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, so we're going to move on to C, which is the President CEO eval results compensation determination.
Should we wait till John's back?
He's back.
Almost missed it,
One
John.
thing that I know that we have a quorum, we may want to get input from our other 2 commissioners that are not present, because I think it would be good to have feedback from everybody.
You still talking about LOPS?
No, we're talking about William doesn't have a problem with that, regarding the compensation.
Yeah, we should all be here for that.
Yeah, we're missing 3 people
Yeah,
now, so.
I think it'd be good to have everybody.
And it's been a long meeting.
It'll be a better vote,
Okay,
overall
yeah.
vote.
We
And
do.
I think
Okay.
everybody would want to have some input.
Besides, I like to hear Dave's point of view. He's pretty knowledgeable on this.
Okay. So no more discussion with that. New business, HCV, administrative plan, inspection of emergency housing voucher. Oh, boy.
So during COVID, Congress decided to create and fund a brand new voucher program called the Emergency Housing Voucher Program. And the goal was to house people who were homeless or at risk of being homeless. And the referrals were going to come from the Continuum of Care, which is Suncoast Partnership to End Homelessness. And they also appropriated a lot of different fees that helped not just the Housing Authority, but Suncoast Partnership to go out and find landlords to help the resident, pay the security deposit. If they needed furniture, they could pay for that with these fees. Anyway, we have 49 families on the EHV program, and Congress is sunsetting the program, so they're no longer going to fund the program, and our funding will run out in 2026. So it's a very, very difficult funding climate for our program in general right now. As you all know, we've discussed, we're officially in a shortfall situation. So unless HUD gives us money, we won't be able to pay all the landlords come December. So we are working with a shortfall team. We do think that they're going to make funding available to us come the end of the year. We qualified for a number of different shortfall categories. But all this to say that we haven't even been able to, when a family comes off the program and now we have a voucher, we cannot reissue it while we're in shortfall. But having said that, well, I would like to get the board's input on this. We can notify the people who are on an emergency housing voucher and say, regrettably, Congress is no longer going to fund this. We've been able to assist you for 4 to 5 years, but the program is sunsetting, and give them like 6-month warning that your assistance is going to end, or we can amend our admin plan. We'll have to apply for some waivers. Of course, HUD's not making any of this easy for us. But they are offering us $1,000 per voucher fee to essentially have these families go to the top of our waiting list to essentially get absorbed into our regular voucher program.
Voucher or public housing?
Voucher.
But I thought
So this is a voucher, but it's not a regular housing choice voucher.
Is that it? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay. I just thought our waiting list was very long.
It is very long.
So they're gonna have to, does that mean they're gonna have to, in the interim, they're gonna have to move?
No.
It just means they'll have to fill a gap in their own.
No, if they go to the top of the list and we're able to issue them a regular voucher, they can stay in place, essentially with continued assistance. They won't know any difference.
Okay.
I mean, we have a lot of special purpose vouchers, VASH. And
Okay, so if we go that route, then it'll be pretty seamless. It's
Correct.
not gonna affect them from a financial
Correct.
aspect, and they'll just be, okay. Well, to me, that seems like
And looking at the incomes of these families, there's quite a few who would really struggle to pay market rent if their assistance were in.
Are these elderly and disabled?
There are some disabled. I don't know. I don't remember off the top of my head how many are elderly. One of the ideas, we have mainstream vouchers, which are for non-elderly disabled. And so my hope was we could transition at least those who qualify into that, but that program is full too. So it's really a discussion I wanted to have with you all to see what direction do you want us to go in.
What are other housing authorities doing?
Well, like Broward County has given them a 6-month notice that their assistance is going to end. But I did contact Fort Myers, Titusville, Tampa, maybe a couple others. Because not every housing authority in Florida even got them in the first place. But they're planning to renew them, or not renew them, but offer them a regular voucher, not terminate their assistance.
I'm in favor of definitely not doing this termination
termination,
program and then making it seamless and giving them a new voucher.
If we can.
Well, it sounds from what William said we can.
So here's the situation, full transparency. The government, if I had to bet, the government's going to shut down on October 1st.
Yeah.
They probably won't be shut down for that long. They'll come together, they'll pass a short-term continuing resolution till like November.
As usual.
They'll come back in November and pass another continuing resolution and punt the ball to January. Last year, we didn't get a full year continuing resolution until March.
Yeah.
So until they do a full year continuing resolution, and the Section 8 program, believe it or not, was one of like 5 anomalies that were allowed onto the CR. Because normally Congress wants a clean CR. But the White House and Congress said, no, we're going to have an anomaly because if we don't add more money into the Section 8 account, we won't be able to renew everybody who currently has a voucher. So I'm very confident we're going to get an anomaly. We may also get money, essentially because HUD didn't give Congress the right numbers in March, where so many housing authorities are in a shortfall now. So I think the anomaly may plug the hole for 2025 and add money for 2026. Because remember, technically, we're still, a continuing resolution is still going back to the 2024 funding levels. That was the last time Congress passed a funding bill for the whole government. So I say all that to say, I don't know what 2026 is going to look like. If the anomaly plugs the hole for 25 and gives us more funding nationwide for 2026, I'm pretty confident we'll be able to absorb these 49 people. So.
Said discussion of the board, is there any value in any sort of notice to the residents, or just right?
Well, I don't.
You don't want to spook anyone.
Yeah, well, because that can really disrupt the household if they get a notice like that. Could really stress.
Right.
There's a lot of stress in families.
So you'd rather have it?
It sounds like
don't know, and it gets.
Well, from what I've heard, I don't think that's going to be an issue. It doesn't sound to me like we're going to have to do those.
It's not going to be an issue.
From what you're saying,
we don't have to tell.
Hopefully. I mean, we could say Congress is no longer funding this program.
We're going to move you to a list.
We're expecting to run out of money in 2026, but it is our intention and our desire to transition you onto our regular voucher program so long as Congress provides ample funding to do that.
Tell them to call that congressman.
Yeah.
He's number 2 on the Ways and Means Committee.
Not anymore.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting this is Sarasota. We lost Vernon Buchanan. You all know that.
We did?
Yeah.
We did?
Yeah. Vernon Buchanan is no longer our congressman here.
Oh, I thought he was.
Oh, really?
Greg
Still
Stubbe.
alive, just not. Still with us, but
you
not.
You just ruined Valerie's day, man.
I mean,
No.
I mean, I would.
No, see, we were
Valerie's
just
spreading rumors.
No, that's Cologne. He did that. It's all my
Okay,
fault.
then we running into all
Yeah,
those
sorry.
extensions.
Yeah, so, I mean, I would be more in favor of just being very transparent with our residents. I understand there being stress associated with that potentially, but it also gives people the opportunity to recognize they have some agency over this, and whether that just even be voting or calling, be aware of what's going on
Right.
with your housing situation. But totally agree on you don't want to stress people out if they don't need to be.
I agree.
Okay. Okay, let's move
Well,
on.
well, I just want to say, if that's the direction we're going to move to, could you send us a draft of the letter?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Program, can I have a motion for the program updates accepted by consent?
So moved.
Second?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any against? Okay, let's move on to commissioners'
I know
announcements.
our chief of staff has to go.
Okay.
Oh, no, I don't. No, I don't. I'm fine.
Excuse me. Commissioner Merritt? Merritt, do you have any?
Well, I just want to mention I went to a really great conference for HDLI. That's the, just so I get this right, everybody knows, the Housing Development Law Institute. I really like that conference that's held because it's unique in the sense you're in basically an all-day workshop, like in a conference room with just like 12 people. And then we have, we get insight from the lawyers, so the lawyers present to us, including Attorney Gilmore, and it's just, I find it really beneficial. I won't go through all of it because one of the positive things is that they had developed a new book, and well, basically, it's the HDLI's model rules and procedures of the Board of Commissioners. And I did speak with William about that, and we are purchasing that. I think you explained that. And we also, with the purchase, they also provide us electronic copies, so the board will be able to get copies of that. But I think you'll find the information there very beneficial.
Thank you.
But it's a really good conference. One thing, I don't know if this is the time to mention or not, but I really appreciate the fact that you've been kind of chipping away at some of the issues or concerns or objectives we brought up at our on our retreat. One of those two, I think I've touched a base on this too, is addressing. Let's see. Oh, well, part of our mission to not only providing, affordable quality housing is to also look to help providing our residents with independence. And really, I talked to William a little bit about this, about understanding a little bit more what programs we have for that. I know Ernestine kind of gave us a great overview of the experience you had with the housing program. But understanding more about the programs we have to help residents with our independence. And I think it might be helpful to understand, maybe if you go back maybe like 5 years or so, and just let us understand how many of our residents have gone through a process where they were able to achieve their independence, and then also understanding what programs we have in place to see if we need to kind of increase that or develop more programs that'll help provide further incentives in helping our residents provide independence overall. Because I think doing that is not only beneficial to our residents long term, but it also helps our waiting list, because
Yep.
we're rotating off and you're allowing more people to get that assistance. But I know that they're going to the conference too that I just went to. Some of the commissioners, some of the EDs talked about some of the programs that they had, and I just wanted to see if where we're at and if we need to kind of increase those programs to help support that initiative. Maybe we can come back with us, analyze that a little bit, and come back to the board with something on that.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I'm all set after that.
Commissioner Combs.
I didn't go to any conferences.
Commissioner D.
Just shortly wanted to say thank you to Andrea and William for putting on a great groundbreaking.
Oh, they got
That was my first with the Housing Authority, and along with the great attendance, it was good to hear from all the partners that we have in the community, and what an important role that the Housing Authority plays in the community as well. But I thought it was a fantastic event, and so just wanted to say thanks to those who put it on. I think it's important to celebrate the wins, celebrate the growth of the authority and the people that we're able to serve because of that growth.
I just make a comment. I'd like to thank the city and the board for allowing me to be chair for another year. I really appreciate it. I'd like to thank the residents when I attended both of the information sessions. I love the questions, the concerns, and everything was just wonderful, and I just appreciate you guys for that. Thank you. Okay.
We appreciate you too.
We adjourn this meeting now at, what is it, 4:37?
6:37.
Oh, what I'm saying, 4:30. 6:37. Thank you. I'm hungry.
Well, we're not allowed to get dinner without you anyway. Did you know that? They make us work through the dinner hour and won't give us dinner.
Also, my understanding was, don't quote me, that's why we'll respond in writing. Yes, so I'll have to take it, because I always thought seniors are so eager to get up during the